YOLO. So I started All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan. I just want to give a quick synopsis of what this book is about so that way you guys understand. It follows our two main characters who are both in high school, and they were actually kidnapped during their spring break. I'm at the very beginning. They're currently both being held captive in these cages, and they have no clue who took them, why they're there. The only real connection that they have to each other, which I'm assuming is going to be important to the story, is that the boy's father murdered or killed the girl's mother. Something like that. But it's very interesting so far. You get both of their perspectives while they're in these cages, and I really like these type of books where it's kind of survival of the fittest. I have a lot of questions, and there's also another perspective you're getting. I just had a chapter about from the perspective of this person named the Collector, and this Collector is watching them both while they're in these cages over like a monitor and like analyzing their behaviors, and I have no clue what's going to happen in this book. I know it's going to take place during two different times. One while they're in high school and being held captive, and the other time will be when they're further down the road, I think when they're adults. The boy, I think, is going to be a detective, and there's going to be a series of either murders or kidnappings that are very similar to what they both went to when they were in high school. So he asks for the girl's help solving this case and figuring out who is doing this to these different people. So I'm really excited. I really like the story so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all comes together. So I've been reading All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan. I am currently about 172 pages in, and I can confidently say that I am thoroughly enjoying this story. The whole first third of this book, it takes place while our characters are held captive in these cages. I don't want to go into too much detail about what's happening, but essentially they are being rented out by people on this kind of almost like a black market, and it's like a game. Almost reading the things that they go through, the amount of trauma that you would have from this experience. I'm just reading stories like this where the people are held captive. It always makes me think, what would I do in this story? In this situation, would I be able to be as strong as these characters? Would I be as smart in trying to figure out how to escape? I don't think I could, honestly. Reading the things that they go through, I just know I could never. But it's honestly such a beautiful story, just seeing how you can kind of do mind over body and make it through any kind of situation, no matter how traumatic. And it's just so beautiful seeing these two characters, the connection while going through this experience together. I just wanted to share that. It's very good. I haven't really talked much in this vlog just because I am out of town right now with my family, but I did want to give a quick update. So I did finish Child of Light, and I was not super impressed with it. I will not be reading the second book. I'll just say that. I will give a more in-depth review of it at the end of this video, but I did want to quickly show you guys what book I'm reading now. I'm currently reading The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. This is just the dust jacket because I do not put that on my book when I'm reading it. This is what the cover looks like. This book is about two sisters who are twins, and you're kind of getting alternating perspectives. Each chapter, you're getting the point of view from Fern, who is one of the sisters who I think she is on the spectrum, but she was never tested when she was a child. She has a hard time reading social cues and things like that. And the other perspective you're getting as well is her sister Rose, who you don't get chapters from her point of view, but in between chapters you get little diary entries from Rose Rose, and she's writing to herself because her therapist told her to. So you're getting different stories from both sisters, and they both have very different experiences with their childhood and with how, you know, they're going about their lives. They're both very close as well. But Rose, she is having a hard time getting pregnant and having a baby. Fern decides to take it upon herself to get pregnant for her sister, to thank her for everything she's done for her in her lives. Right now, I'm like about a third of the way through, but it's very interesting. I know that there's going to be a twist because on the cover, it literally says everyone has a dark side. And inside the dust jacket, it even says 2 sisters, 1 truth, but which one of them knows it? I'm very intrigued. I have more updates when I finish. Okay. It has finally been a week, and I'm finally home from my little weekend getaway with my family, and I have some books to talk about. So the first book that I started in this video was All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan. I'm not going to go into the details of what this book is about because I believe I already said what it was about. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed the story. I liked how the story was told. I liked the different point of views you got from each chapter, and I also really liked the different timelines that you got to see with our characters. I feel like it was just such an emotional story, and I was so satisfied with the ending and how everything kind of came full circle. I would look up trigger warnings if you are sensitive to certain topics, but it was such a good story, and I really enjoyed our 2 main characters. I thought that they were great. They were so incredibly strong and just mature, honestly. Thinking back on everything that they went through in the story, I'm just so impressed with how they were able to overcome some of those feelings and just really know what is healthy for them, what is not healthy for them in the aftermath. I just really enjoyed it. So highly recommend this to anyone who wants to read it. Next, I read Child of Light by Terry Brooks. This is a fantasy book about a girl who I believe she is in this like goblin prison, and she doesn't really have any recollection of her past. She doesn't know why she's in this prison, or she doesn't remember really hardly her childhood or anything about herself or where she came from. And the book starts right off the bat getting into action. She's actually in the middle of escaping this prison with a group of her friends who were also in this prison. And so at first I really thought I was going to really enjoy the story because it was very quick to the action, and just the way things were going, it sounded interesting. However, I just don't think I meshed well with the writing style in this book. I ended up giving this a 2 stars just because what I noticed when I was reading this story was the way the author writes information. It's very just kind of almost like bullet points. It felt like I was reading bullet points. Like, I was hungry, so then I went and ate this. Then I went on a walk. Then I did this. Like, it didn't feel like you were getting the characters' thoughts, opinions. It just felt like it was just very factual. It felt kind of surface level. Like I wasn't really getting anything out of it. I didn't form a connection with these characters because, once again, I didn't really feel like I got anything from the writing. Next, I read The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. So I think I already explained what this book is about. I ended up giving this book a 3 stars. I kind of suspected the ending. I feel like I guessed it pretty early in the story. Also, like one of the sisters is lying, so you can theorize very early on about who that good sister is. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was super high stakes. Like the ending, the climax of the story wasn't anything crazy. Like it it didn't feel like, I wasn't like shocked. I'll just put it that way. I was very aggravated at some parts. So yes, the author did pull out that emotion from me, but I didn't feel like I was necessarily crazy about the ending. Really, it's the ending that kind of solidified 3-star rating for me. Not that 3 stars is bad. I would still say it's a very good book. It was very fast paced. Chapters were very short. I felt like I very much understood what was going on the entire time. There were no questions that I had. The last book I started reading in this vlog was Heartless Hunter by Kristen. I have no clue, but you can see the name. I'm not even gonna attempt. But I am very much enjoying this book. I have not finished it yet. I am about this far into it, so almost halfway through it, and I really like it. Like it's heading towards a 5 stars. Depending on how the rest of the story goes, it is heading towards a 5 stars. I am really enjoying this world that we're in. This kingdom used to be run by this family of witches, so these sister witches, they were queens, and then there was this huge revolution where witches, they're being purged, so they're being hunted. There's this new republic that has taken over, and our main character, she is a witch. I would honestly compare this book to Robin Hood because it feels like our main character, she is trying to save other witches. She's kind of pretending to be this socialite so no one understands or suspects her as being a witch, or this person called the Crimson Moth. All these witch hunters are trying to hunt down the Crimson Moth because she keeps rescuing all these witches that they keep arresting. It feels very much like Robin Hood in that way. Our main character, she is trying to save this very powerful older witch. However, something goes wrong, and so now she has to find information on where this witch is being held so she can save her. Our other main character, the guy, he is like the head of the witch hunters, whatever. I forget what they're called, but he's like the head of them. He's like the person who led the revolution. She decides to start courting him. So it also feels like a hint of Bridgerton is thrown into this book. So think Robin Hood and Bridgerton. That is the vibe. So she's trying to court this guy, and he suspects that she's the Crimson Moth. So he wants to court her back to prove whether or not she is the Crimson Moth. So it's very interesting, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I like this high society. It just pulls you in, and I feel like I am in this world, in this story, and I really enjoy all the characters I've been reading about. And those are all the books that I read in my reading vlog this week. Once again, I'm not finished with Heartless Hunter. However, I did finish these 3. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This was a little bit different because half of the week was just normal, me being at home, and then the other half I was on a road trip essentially and trying to film clips as much as I could. I wasn't able to film a ton of clips of me actually reading, so that's why I tried to include some other bookish content, like going to Barnes Noble and then going to Ikea looking for a reading chair and a bookshelf and things like that. I'm trying to get better. I have a hard time whenever I'm with my family or on vacation. I have a really hard time filming clips just because, first of all, I don't like filming in front of other people, but also I'm trying to be present when I'm with my family. So that is why there's not a ton of clips from when I was on my road trip. Hopefully this gave you some ideas for books to read. Hopefully these reviews helped you figure out what your next read is going to be. And I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.